GDF number 64, and in brackets, I think APP 1954. You have any, give you that description, are you able to better become aware of this form? But there were standard forms in use in the GDF that would have this sort of classification, a GDF number so, and that sort of thing. You agree with that?
I can't agree because I don't know what you're showing me. I am seeing it, so I don't know what it is. I am saying that you don't really expect me as chief of staff to know all the forms are enforced in the GDF over the last 20, 30 years.
Well, I'm not expecting to know in any case. You do agree that the Army was utilizing forms?
Yes. There are standard forms.
Standard forms utilized by the Army.
Yeah.
And you would consider that there would be a standard form that the Army would use if weapons are being transferred from one place to the next.
You said so already. I think the council should be to use your term. This witness has answered the same question 5 times. And the question that the last answer is that, as chief of staff, he could not answer the Army, but I don't understand that I wasn't there. So we need to get on.
Now, the transfer of weapons to organizations outside the GDF would be something that you would have to approve before it is done as chief of staff.
I would have to approve. I don't see us transferring weapons to some other agency other than within the discipline framework or the military framework.
Let me put it another way. As chief of staff, you would not allow any of your subordinate ranks to give weapons to a non-organization, a non-military organization. You agree with that?
I agree.
You sure you didn't want to ask somebody to recognize offenses?
That's all. Yes. I wish to show you now the signature of what purports to be McPherson signing a form to see if you can identify the signature. At the bottom of that form, does that appear to be McPherson's signature?
No, I don't think so.
It does not appear.
No. And
Can you say
maybe what you should do is get the fingerprint first because this does not seem to be a person signature at all.
Mr. Chairman,
I propose that the case in the morning where it turns on around taking part.
Mr. Chairman, before we go back, will the witness identify that document you've shown, please? Could we have a specific identification of the document that you will show?
Are you looking at a document that is headed up Guyana Defense Force account form?
Yes.
And you see that the form seems to have the date 24th of June at the top as well as at the bottom of the form?
Yes.
Sorry, 1979.
That's correct.
Okay, take up all other issues.
Okay, we'll be some more this as a basis.
We will return to that when we come back.
I think the last question had to do with the non-recognition of the signature form. So I'll continue.
And the identification of the document.
Thank you. In June 1979, conceivable.
No, Mr. Chairman, we hadn't completed identifying the document. We said we would do so at the resumption. The document that was shown to Mr. McLean, and she said he didn't recognize the signature of Mr. Malperson. So we have that document properly identified.
I think that Mr. Williams recalled where we were quite active.
I thought it was already properly identified. I think it's an exit.
In this of the whole process, I introduced the break. Because at one point Mr. Williams suggested that perhaps you needed to just complete it. But in the middle of the process, I introduced the break. So you may want to get it from there. What's your Julius last note?
This is the purpose of the record, the document that has been recorded with this document today, the supposed to come in form. And the day of the 4th of June 1969 on it.
He said he did recommend the signature of that of a particular officer.
Of the particular officers. And there, under the document, a description of weapons. And as part of the special branch file, and this has been tagged LJSB WPA1. And it's found at page 74. 74. I was going to ask Mr. McLean, you have the document with you? There are some articles mentioned in this document, namely G3 rifles, G3 bayonets, 7.62 ammo, rounded pistols, and 9mm long. Those articles mentioned, conceivably, they could have formed part of the weaponry.
Mr. Chairman, could I object to this? This witness has shown a document for the purposes of identifying the signature. He has in fact said it is not the signature of the person he was asked. How could we now go to the contents?
This document is an exhibit already.
If he says that's not the signature of the person, because if he doesn't identify the signature of that person, that document has no value. It's valueless.
This is an exhibit.
It's an exhibit for identification purposes.
And I can make what use of it as I choose.
No. The exhibit is for identification purposes. Strictum sensu. When that's why you have to bring to him to identify the signatures. So you're going to come with documents that no one could identify the signature and they come alive. So they're only there for identification. If that signature is not identified, it's not evidence. The contents can't be evidence.
I'm sure that strictly with you. But that this particular witness can identify it does not be identified in the course of the hearing. But even from the point of view of the public, what document is that being shown to the witness? I'm posing the question which, if I were already proceeding, I would want to know. And I don't know that there is any harm in saying that this is a document that purports to be from so-and-so. It bears a name of so-and-so and relates to items of ammunition. I don't know that we can't say that at this point, but in fact, this witness doesn't acknowledge or recognize the signature, does not prevent another witness or witnesses from acknowledging it. But I think the witness wants to help.
I had said this with due respect, sir, if I can. I had asked that probably we should get a fingerprint expert to identify, but this does not, by my recollection, I remember my person there. I don't know how long he's there, but this does not appear to be a signature. And I believe that you should have somebody authenticate to say whether this is any recollection of.
But apart from that, the form itself, you seem to recall that it was a form of the Guyana Defense Force.
It says Guyana Defense Force, account form, GDF number, whatever it is. I mean, as chief of staff, all these details I argue would know that this is the right form, but certainly it would appear to be a GDF form. I have no problem with that.
On the surface of it,
Yes,
yes.
that's correct.
Mr. Counsel, are you going to answer witness? Were you intending to answer witness about the particular arms mentioned, or in relation to whether this type or caliber of arms was kept by the defense force? There are two separate.
I agree.
Which is the one you are?
Second, that this is the type of weaponry that could conceivably form part of the GDF equipment at the time. If I can build
I think you're speaking with your head now and the movements, but you're not using your arms. I think I understand what you're saying, but can we hear your voice?
G3 rifles were the standard weapon which was brought into the Union. There are others, of course, SLR rifles and what have you, but certainly G3 and the bayonet would be weapons which came in for the defense force.
Yes, and it seems to be the type of voice that we like to hear in Jack Square. But it was the same more often. Yes. Please proceed, Doctor.
And 7.62 ammunition is generic. It's what goes with the weapon.
Do you recognize any of the signatures on that form?
Sorry, I see you telling it, Rodney pistol mentioned here. You missed it with that?
Rubbing pistols or part GDF for that warrant rubbing
So
pistols?
other people would have had that. Rounding pistol, 9mm long ammunition, yes. Those are generic things.
Well, just for clarification, this form is dated at the time when you were not the chief of staff, is that correct? If you are presuming that you did,
I was not yet.
you were not the chief of staff.
Correct.
Do you know in June 1979 who would have been the proper person to sign a form such as this, handing over weaponry? Would you know or not?
There are quite a few signatures here. Accounting officer, store account officer, but I don't recognize any of those signatures at all. And I certainly don't recognize this as my personal signature. And we don't know which command he was talking about. Commanding officer of what? I don't see that here.
On the same form, do you see an army number and a rank mentioned alongside my person's name at the top?
No, I don't see that either.
Just a rough description about it, because you see the name McPherson.
Yes,
To the left of that, in the column under rank, you see like an abbreviated form of information there.
on the rank. Here. I don't see that.
Just before McPherson, to the left of it.
To the left,
They have-
left the station, Thomas Lands, date 24th of June 1979. I don't see any.
What is the column? Which is the name in the center of the column, from left to right. Name, and then onto the column up to the
Top of the
top.
document,
Up to the top, to the top.
We're up at the top.
Yeah, right by your finger there now. to cross the name
You see a name at first there.
on the
Yes, 9142, yes.
And
See here now.
and it looks as though that the ramp is,
The left of McPherson's
Looks like
name
major.
is called the
It
right.
looks like the energy, you couldn't talk to the nature, right?
let me ask you, do you know whether in June 1979 whether Mr. McPherson was a major?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Maybe no. How would I? I wasn't there, first of all. He ended up being a colonel, but I don't know when he was promoted to lieutenant colonel, or when he went to colonel. But it may be that he was here as a major at that time. I don't know.
But when you went into the army the month after, you don't know whether he was a major then here?
No.
Do you know that, can you verify his number? Well, it was 91, you know his signature well? You know his number as well, right? 914.
I'm not sure.
We don't know that.
That was right, his number, the regimental number. For instance, mine was 9375. Long after.
Get the number, Mr.
Yes.
When you became the chief of staff, who would have been the proper person to sign a form handing over weapons and such? You mentioned.
Now this says INT. That means, my understanding is by the intelligence code.
Mr. McPherson, as far as you're aware, was the head of the intelligence corps in June 1979.
I don't know.
That speaks INT to the unit
Yes,
of
that's
which the referee by the big up. Is that correct?
this form emanates from INT according to this form.
Yeah. McPherson was the head of the intelligence unit in
And one thing I don't know when-
July 1979 when you took over the army.
I am not sure.
The
But
referee,
I told you before, my recollection was that Major Harmon would have been the commanding officer in my time. I'm not sure when McPherson moved, if I was there at all. So I don't know.
I don't think you answered the question I posed, though, whether the indication that it was from the intelligence unit, yes, the indication then that the referee came from, is that a reasonable interpretation?
No. It made the request may be originating from him, but it would not come from there. It would have to come from the quartermaster stores or where the weapons armory and what have you would
So
be.
the mention of intelligence unit there only indicates that the unit made the request.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
May I counsel interject again? Who is an accounting officer as designated to the bottom right-hand corner of the form? Not the individual, but within the army, the accounting officer do or does what?
This is signature of store compounds. That's what the typing there indicates.
No, above that, it says signature of
I'm
accounting
trying to,
officer. Who is an
for, it
accounting-
says for something, I don't know. I don't know who that is, and for.
I don't think you're following me. Just above where it says signature of store accounting officer,
Yes,
where the lines are,
yes,
the table, to the right hand of the document, it says signature of accounting officer.
yes. See that?
I'm not trying to get the identity of the person. I'm trying to understand what role or position an accounting officer in this context will be playing.
I can't answer that, I don't really know.
Did the army have persons who operated as accounting officers?
Accounting officers would normally be finance, but this is not finance. This is weaponry and ammunition. So It does say for, therefore, something I can't make out what that is.
So the accounting officer is normally the finance. What about down the bottom now, the signature of store accounting officer? The Army had store accounting officer?
Yes, the one that.
And what role would a store accounting officer play in the context of this?
I would imagine record keeping.
Thank you very much.
Following up on the question that I had asked earlier about the intelligence unit, with it normally we question our rifles, intelligence unit.
Possibly.
Mr. McLean, sorry, Major General McLean, the same.
Rose by any other name as Florence.
You're very lyrical, waxing lyrical. The very last signature, will it assist? I don't know the abbreviation. I'm not sure the last signature. Is it for head of PLSS? Does that help you?
Or looks that way, but I don't know. I really don't.
You don't know what the abbreviation
No.
is for? Okay.
Could be MSS as well, I don't know.
Yes. Could be PLSS or LIS.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on from that.
You're moving on from the board?
Yes.
I would just like to ask a few more questions. It says station, Thomas land, is it, what land is that, to the left hand side?
That is where Ayagana is based, Thomas Land. Camp Ayagana, that's the main base of Camp Ayagana. Thomas Land.
And there is an abbreviation on the form, PNC, you see that?
Yes.
Was there any department in the Army which bore that initial?
No.
And there is a note on the form, House of Israel.
Israel.
House of Israel was not an affiliate of the Army.
No.
To your knowledge, the Army and the House of Israel collaborate
No.
so as to necessitate the distribution or sharing of arms.
No.
According to the policies by which the Army operated, when you became in charge of the Army, would it have been appropriate for the Army to be distributing arms to the House of Israel?
No.
Thank you very much.
Mr. McLean, you had earlier referred to Gregory Smith as a deserter. So what I want to ask you is, in terms of procedure in the GDF that existed at the time, how would one have become a deserter? How would one reach that stage? I imagine that somebody would first of all report that the person is absent.
Absent without leave.
And
And after a number of days, he will be deemed a deserter.
okay, just let me clarify that. If it is, for instance, that Gregory Smith was a part of the Maritime Corps,
Correct.
well, beyond that, you did confirm that in fact he was in the Maritime Corps when he was in the Army.
That's what I was told.
That's what you were told.
Yeah.
You never sought to confirm that.
My commanding officer tells me that this man has been a deserter. I don't want you to come and that I cross you to tell me in the document. It tells me that I will accept it.
You will accept it.
I'm concerned to know whether he was a deserter as of June 13th. You know, when his status as a deserter started.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
It'd be useful to have.
I think you had already mentioned, did you know when you became a deserter?
No.
How did you become aware that he was a deserter?
How did it come?
You.
From Major Lewis, who was the educator, the person responsible for admin department. Because the GPD general person department would fall on the
Okay, maybe go back to the procedure. Would it be correct for me to suggest that the unit to which Gregory Smith will be attached, meaning the Maritime Corps, if he failed to show up for duty, the head of that unit would communicate that to the personnel department? Is that correct?
eventually it would happen. Even if it would, the procedure would be that somebody in the Maritime Corps would have checked for it. Well, why is Smith on duty?
Right.
And after time, it will be deemed not only being absent without leave, but being the deserter. I think it has some time frame in this time. And then a report will go to headquarters.
So after a soldier, or if you were to be absent for a period, we don't know that period, would it be 30 days or some such similar
I
period?
don't know. I don't know what.
But automatically, information will go to the personnel department, and then that person will be deemed a deserter.
That's how I understand.
And when the personnel department would have deemed him a deserter, that will also have generated some other action.
Military police will probably go to look for it.
The next stage, the military police will be duty bound
Yeah.
to go and look for him. Would it be also correct that force orders, I think, would be generated to the effect that this person, William Gregory Smith, is now deemed a deserter? Am I correct in my terminology? I'm not sure. Force orders, is that the correct terminology? Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
That a force order would be generated deeming Gregory Smith a deserter?
Probably, yeah, mostly.
Would also, in terms of publicizing the fact that Gregory Smith may have become a deserter, would it not also be normal to perhaps put it in the regular print media,
No.
in the newspapers of today?
No.
It would not be normal. But what was the effect of the force orders? And would that be to notify all persons in the military that look, this man Smith is now a deserter, and if you see him, you should arrest him?
I think something more than that in terms of suspension of his pay, that he will not be paid or put on payroll. Those are the sorts of things which will follow that force order.
So once the force order deems him deserted, a step that will be taken is for him to be struck off the payroll letter, so to speak.
He won't be struck off, strength, which is what the terminology was SOS, but he would be not any longer be on the payroll to draw pay. The military police will then probably have a list where they will probably go and look for him. But if you have enough people there, they will wait a week maybe, and then after that, unless somebody comes and gives you some information, that's it.
So the Army would not normally pay a soldier, would not normally give a salary to a soldier who is a deserter.
Once the order is issued, I think they will find that you be taken off the paper.
In this particular case, with reference to Gregory Smith, can you recall seeing any force order that would deem him a deserter? You can't remember seeing that. But you would have expected that to happen.
Please speak very loud, sir.
Yes. No, I don't recall.
But
I don't hardly recall.
I understand.
In 8,000 men, we have 100 or whatever it is shown as these orders that will trigger my bothering with that at all. Not something I will focus on or pay attention to.
If you were to be shown an extract from a payroll book, that may assist you in determining when he had become a deserter, the timing of it.
You're putting it la 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 there. I don't know.
He can't help us on that, but how relevant is that to our proceeding? Terribly much matter that he was deserved that.
I think the period at which Mr. Gregory Smith moved from being an active soldier to a deserter is very, very important. In reference to June 19th, when he was an active member of the army, when he was a deserter, I think it would be a pivotal issue.
Well, if they have to call the appropriate officer, you don't think the man get hit or 8,000, you know that. But I think you went through this in the secret bring the appropriate officer here.
On that point, as I noted, who would be, you said the appropriate officer to tell us that is now deceased.
Yes.
Do you think of any other officer?
But even though the officer is deceased, there might be his successor or two places from, they still have records. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. But the payroll records may be a useful guide for you to see when you'll stop paying this man. You agree? But from the time he starts receiving money, and if he received money during the run, it could help you to decide whether he was active or deserted. One moment, please. I'm trying to look at the grade form.
Is it the form is updated? Yes? But that form is before the general stand. Just in case you want to see on that. We waste time on it. But he's already said a document to show them before was before this time. This one is going to go to me 1979. You are 5 points.
Do you agree? You have a name for the book that you refer to as the payroll book. You have a name before it. No, I'm asking you, do you have a name that you will call that lists the payroll of the listed members of the army? You have a name for that? You know the name?
Payroll, I don't know.
Payroll.
Whatever it is.
And that payroll, you would imagine you would have the regulation numbers, the rank, and the name of the person receiving pay. And the amount of money that is being received. And we agree that in the normal scheme of things, that type of information will be listed in columns and rows and so on.
Yes, sir.
I wish to show to this witness a document that purports to be such a document with a date on it, if permitted.
See that? Show it to the other.
The document that you're currently looking at, Mr. McLean, do you see it bearing the date, a stamp with a date on it, 24th of May 1979?
Correct.
I should ask you, does this have the appearance of the document you described? Payroll, a payroll book, a page from payroll book?
I assume so. I've never seen one, there because I've never seen one.
Okay,
But this would seem to be a patient.
okay.
This lays out the rank, the number, rank, name of a person. Dated 24th of May 79. This was before my time.
I do understand that. You recognize the date 24th of May 1979 on that form? Are you able, you recognize reference being made to Sergeant Smith
Yes.
with the rank number 4141?
Correct.
And from the, the other information in terms of the money list, it doesn't look as though Sergeant Smith 4141 was actually receiving pay according to the document you're looking at.
I don't know if he's receiving pay. This is what I see here is a cut and paste. And it doesn't have a signature.
What do you mean by cut and paste?
Well, if you look at the end of this, you will see the thing which is put onto the page.
Perhaps I could show you a better copy.
Well, maybe this is area cut and paste.
That's very serious. Very serious. If you have
What I got,
I have heard several voices simultaneously come out of that.
Mr. Chairman, before the witness sees that document, counsel should see it. I haven't seen the document that the witness has been shown.
I thought that was the procedures.
I have not seen the document that the witness has been seen. Been shown, sorry.
this is also
That document.
what we have is a page. Somebody's put on and copied additional information on the site. That's what I call a cut and paste.
And it's a piece of digital document.
Not an original.
Council, could you show the document?
It's obviously the procedure here is different, and I'll just go along with the procedure of this commission.
Serious things. HD quality, yes.
Chair, let me say
Mr.
this.
Williams,
Yes,
just to clarify that matter with Mr. Peters. The document that was shown to the witness, is it already in evidence? Yes or no?
No.
What is the source of the document? Where did the counsel get it from the Secretary of Defense?
It was photocopied from a very large book,
From whom did you get that from?
the Island Defense Force.
Thank you very much. And was it served on council prior to today? This morning
Yes.
or just now?
Just now.
Before we start?
For the grave.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Peters, have you seen the document?
This entire document that's here, I do not have possession of it.
All right. Council, could you seek to correct it as soon as possible?
Very well.
Sorry.
yes, I was saying that basically this is a bond document. And we don't know what this document was. So the council has supplied that information for the bar table. If he wants to supply any document from an institution and he wants to do that by photocopy, he has to do practice. He must bring the original, the book or whatever here to show us, and the extracts to verify that it comes from that book. And then he takes back the book, but we don't expect to keep the record of a discipline force. But in cases involving a police force, they do the same thing. You bring the record, you make a copy, and you send back because you will verify that it comes from that book. But this surely, you couldn't bring a document that is untitled, to this commission, and then tell you what to take what it is. And then there are several. With no signatures on there. So I don't know where we go. In any event, this thing about asking this witness, our documents that were before his time, I don't think it's proper also. No, we have to go back to this. But these documents are there, really kind of the authenticity of the documents are not being established.
Mr. Chairman, we are undertaking to bring the person who delivered this big book subsequent to Mr. McLean giving evidence. We want to seize the opportunity as Mr. McLean is here now in the witness box, only to show him, and we're giving an undertaking that the soldier who brought this big book to be photocopied will return with the book. But at this point,
One of you hope that started to do that. This work is spent for that is up to a certain time.
yes. That is what we owe in this.
But sure, you go that you're not asking to do around it.
Exactly.
See, I had about organization of 8,000. It's a big issue to you. He said he might not even know about it, or even heard about it. They only hear the thing out of the So you may think it's a big issue, and we are involved in it, and for us it's a big issue. But when you had 8,000 people, there are all sorts of, every 11 people get in trouble every other week. Not 8,000 people. Some charged with murder, some charged with murder. You may hear about it along the way, but it's not a big issue. And I don't know that he would know about it, he would really make the best use of it while he's here, but I think you may have to get another witness lower down who is immediately in charge of this thing.
I'm guiding this issue. I wish to address a comment made by the witness by further questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Now, if documents are photocopied from a big bound volumes, you would expect when the photocopies are made that you may also have in the photocopy some parts of previous pages. Do you agree with that?
Well, that's not a question for the witness to answer.
No, it's not right, it's not a question. You can answer it.
I don't understand the question. What I saw there could be the representative of a bonded document, which is a payroll. And I would expect to see a signature from all those people who are drawing pay. I don't see those, but I see that you tried, I don't know why, to marry a piece of it with the main document. That's all I was asking when I talked about cut and paste. I'm not challenging the veracity of. I would certainly would like to see the original. If you want to ask me something about that, but I don't know what is the point being made. Okay.
At some stage, when you may have been trying to discern the activities of Gregory Smith within the Army structure, did you learn that Gregory Smith had been sent abroad for overseas training in England?
How can I answer that? I can answer by saying that I have seen that he was sent to the HMS Collingwood in England, which is what we hear we send people for signal training or whatever. That's it. And that was some time ago. I didn't know what time that was. That was long before my time.
What I'm getting at, when people join the Army in the first instance, is there a period of time that they're expected to remain members of the Army?
That bands of 3 years.
So from the time you first enlist, it is expected
You're bound for 3 years.
you're bound for 3 years.
And then you can renew that for the next 3, or you can sign for 6. And so it goes on in bands of 3.
In bands of 3.
That's right.
Now, isn't it also correct that when soldiers are sent abroad for overseas training, that it is expected that that person will also be bound to serve the Army for a further period? Do you agree with that?
I am not aware that that is necessary. He's not going to be contracted because he went on a 6-month course or something like that.
Don't you agree that the Army would have wanted to discourage persons from going on overseas training and then promptly leave the Defense Force on their return? You don't believe that the Army would want to discourage that?
But binding somebody in a contract doesn't mean that they have an abscond anymore.
That's not my question.
What is the question?
Would the Army have wanted to discourage persons who were sent on overseas training from immediately from leaving the Defense Force immediately after such training?
There's a valid expectation. What I'm saying to you, it doesn't mean that the person will not abscond. I have been in an institution, for instance, at Guymine, where this has been part of 7 people on overseas training for 3-4 years.
Sorry to cut you, Mr. McLean. I don't know, do you understand the question? Do you understand the question?
He has answered you enough, Council. He said that is a valid expectation.
The question is whether the Army would have wanted to discourage
He
persons.
said yes.
Do you agree with that?
He said yes, Council.
Let me suggest to you that it was a necessary prerequisite for somebody who was going to be sent on overseas training for them to formally extend their service for a further period. If they didn't do that, they could not go on overseas training. That's what that was suggesting.
I am not aware of that. You don't want to give examples, but I went to Panama where we had 12 men trained as aeronautical engineers, right? And on the way back, they disappeared in Miami. You know, you can buy anything, but it doesn't mean that the person will not abscond. That's
I
all I was
understand
saying.
completely.
That's all I was saying. Huh?
On 12?
No, the majority will come back, but there always will be one or two who, when they arrive in Miami, on the way back home, you don't see them again.
Sorry, those who absconded we are speaking of, were they bound? Had there been that prerequisites?
What, the 12 that I'm talking about?
The ones who absconded?
No, no.
There has been no prerequisites? All right, thank you.
Do you feel that the fact that somebody may have received overseas training and then absconded shortly after would cause the army to try and find that person even more actively than the normal person who deserted?
I would say yes.
You have no idea when Sergeant Gregory Smith went overseas training. You
No. I was not in Nigeria. I was not in Nigeria.
Do you have any idea as to the period of training that he would have gone through overseas?
You're putting me in a fishing trip. Really, I don't know.
Well, just say that and we can move on. Do you agree with me that the longer the period of overseas training, the longer period that person is expected to come back and serve?
There are some contractual arrangements which were established, especially where you have somebody going for 2-year training or what have you. Yes. I remember training, but I never was bombed. I was never contracted in any way.
Can you recall where you were on the 30th of June 1980?
30th of June? No.
Can you recall when you first heard about the explosion that caused the death of Rodney? Can you remember when you first heard that?
I think either the night or the morning of the following, the night or the
I respectfully suggest to you that you were at a function which involved diplomats on the night of Friday the 30th, 1980, when you first learned about the explosion that
I don't think so.
you don't think so?
I don't think so.
But you can't remember when or you can't remember where you were at that time. Can you?
No, I don't recall. Very true.
When you first got the information, it was disclosed to you that Walter Rodney had died.
On the morning, yes, I was.
You now wish to positively state that you heard about that the following morning as opposed to the night.
Either the night or the morning. The difference between 12 and 1.
So you're open to the possibility that you could have been told about Walter Rodney's death the same night of June 13, 1980.
I believe so.
And at the time you application, it was revealed to you that it was in fact Walter Rodney and the McLean.
I'm not sure.
Upon hearing that news, were you prompted into any action?
Not really, no.
And by the laws of the government, what do you do that day?
Yes. My question is, what was his? Did he do anything as a result of learning this information?
What did that day? Go more? You go ahead, don't let me interrupt you, but I'm not sure why he would be prompted into asking. But you go ahead.
Yeah. Did you ever discuss that incident with Mr. Burnham? The incident being the explosion that killed Walter Rodney. Did you ever discuss that incident with Mr. Burnham?
I may have.
Do you agree that if you did in fact discuss it, that discussion will have taken place very soon after the incident?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I don't know this line of questioning. If you say that he would have been in the capacity of the staff, and would that be a matter of national security? I think matters of national security are privileged in any court, in any inquiry. I don't think the witness needs to answer.
I do not understand the aspect of national security that is involved there. I should stop the witness from please proceed. The witness is very comfortable answering. I don't know that any aspect of Rodney's circumstances any matter of national security. If national security killed it, we should know that.
Mr. Chair, no, I'm just suggesting that if you ask for conversation to be disclosed between a chief of staff and the Minister of Defense on matters of this nation, my understanding is that these matters are always privileged. In any event, he would have to sign on his appointment order of secrecy.
The question was only whether he had reason to discuss.
No, but I'm alerting him. If he wants to have the contents of such communication, that would be privileged.
When we get to that, but I'm not even so sure about that. This is a query to find out the whole truth, man. Support that. Passage of time alone would have destroyed any national security significance of that. What can I say?
But Mr. Williams, I remember the case of Douglas and Cavalier dealing with national security. I don't think the nature of the question is relating to matters of national that affect national security. This is a past event, long past. And that is why we got here. But if of course counsel is going to impinge on matters of national security, we will stop it.
But I really alert the commission. I would want to believe the death of a leading person like Dr. Walter Rodney in those circumstances is going to be a matter of national security.
Even the out, the CIA have documents, the FBI, MI16, all on Rodney, they know almost pretty public. The declassified.
Mr. Chair, if you have those documents, we'd be happy.
I don't have them, but I'm aware of them, I've been so advised by those entities. And in one instance or two, they say we must pay for them in order to get them, but they are available. After all this passes, I'm very much into the national security implication, I can't see it, but thanks for learning us. Please, Council, get ahead.
Are you aware of a joint intelligence headquarters situated at Oval and East Coast?
No.
Can you recall ever having meetings with both Mr. Larry Lewis and Mr. Skip Roberts to share information?
We have met so often in so many forums that I really don't know what.
Okay. Well, precisely information that will revolve around intelligence gathering during the period 1978, 79, 88.
78 and the first part of 79, I am Director General of the National Service.
I understand.
I am in the hinterland all over doing what I am supposed to be doing. So I don't know anything about intelligence. After that, I have had meetings with Skip Roberts, who I know, and that would be on issues maybe that he wants to divulge on crime, or Larry Lewis, who would have been head of the, what we call the Joint Intelligence Committee.
Could you tell us a little more about the Joint Intelligence Committee?
Two agencies, the media and the Ghana Police.